Good evening, everyone. I'm Ed Gordon. Glad to be here with you. Thank you. Greatly appreciate. That's how to get cheap applause. You just say thank you. We greatly appreciate you coming in this evening. We're delighted to be here and once again celebrate with Reverend Jackson. This is the 22nd annual Wall Street Project Economic Summit. 22 years. Let's give that a round of applause. We have a great program for you. You will hear in just a little bit from one of the treasures of, and a lot of people would say our community, but one of the treasures of America, Ms. Susan Taylor, who jumped off a plane to make sure that she was here. We'll hear from her. We'll hear from a young lady who, when you talk about a legacy of greatness, the offspring of the great Lalah Hathaway, will be performing this evening. But without further ado, because we have a very special guest here this evening and we want to hear from him off of the top, let me bring you the gentleman who will be introducing him. As I always say, I've had the pleasure of hosting these galas for many years. And as I always say, there is one person that I will say for so many years didn't have to get behind anyone to be on the front lines. He has never had an occasion where we had to go look for him when we were in trouble. He was always there oft times before we even knew there was a problem. And so for that, it is the reason that so many of us continue to show up and show support and stand behind him when needed and stand in front of him when needed. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce Reverend Jesse L. Jackson.
Thank you very much. Your presence means so much to our organization, our efforts to democratize capital, to eradicate poverty in a nation so wealthy, to lift those up who are at the bottom who deserve a chance and sometimes a second chance at life. New York takes on special meaning for us as the capital of capital. In so many years, the city passed a legislation to ship in and out African people. This city, in some real sense, was a big factor. And Mississippi and Alabama takes the hit, Sister Taylor, but really the shipping port was the Port of New York. At that time, we lived down near the port for the African burial ground yesterday. They shipped Africans in and shipped cotton and tobacco out. At some point, they moved us to the other side of the same island called Harlem. That's a move, a radical migration to the other side of the island because we can no longer live in the district. As a matter of fact, we built the wall protecting the Dutch settlers from the Indians. So we built the wall and named it Wall Street from our work. So there's a lot to be said about us and Wall Street. And the stage of our struggle, the first stage was to end legal slavery, a 244-year nightmare of an existence. Another 100 years of legal lynching, Jim Crow, 5,000 blacks were lynched. And then the right to vote, which has changed everything fundamentally except the fourth stage, access to capital, industry, and technology and deal flow. But these mean nothing without leadership, without somebody who cares. People care that you know. They want to know that you care. And every now and then we run into leaders who have that special X factor. They care and you feel it because it's authentic, it's genuine. The man I'm about to introduce tonight represents a certain quality of authenticity and genuineness. He's been in our struggle. He was in the struggle working for David Dinkins, in that part of our struggle, working with Bill Lynch in that part of our struggle, and supported my campaigns in New York. Mayor de Blasio, let's hear it for him.
Thank you so much, Reverend. Everybody, it is a real pleasure to be with you because this is a room full of people who have heeded Reverend Jackson's call over the years and have joined him in a struggle for a society that actually lives up to its stated ideals. The problem we all face is what Reverend Jackson just referred to as a history we're still just beginning to come to grips with. And that vignette about the building of the wall at Wall Street, that is so full of meaning. I'm kind of still reverberating with the feeling that that message gave me. Because in fact, in this city, and we pride ourselves in being so-called advanced, so-called sophisticated, and yes, the capital of capital in some place that presumably is liberal in so many ways, but the history makes you think deeply. It is not just who built the wall, it is exactly what Reverend Jackson said about the true nature of the economy built on slavery but financed right here. And we, a few years ago in my administration, did something that was long overdue, and we dedicated a memorial right at the base of Wall Street at the place that was the slave market of New York City. And we want people who visit, but even more so those who work on Wall Street, to understand that history so that we do not, in our modern context, repeat it. And let's be clear about that last phase of the struggle that Reverend Jackson referred to, access to capital and actual economic empowerment, and how far we are from that. So when we think about the origins of our country and the origins of the problems we are grappling with to this day, is because there was not an honest discussion of the nature of our economy, of the inequality that was propagated by that slave trade but continues with us till now. We have to come to grips. I think it's a moment of reckoning. I think it's a moment in which people are waking up. They are seeing that you have to talk about institutional racism and structural racism in this country. If we're going to move forward, we have to talk about it out loud. And it is directly connected to the income inequality that is skyrocketing and becoming less and less acceptable. The two go together so painfully, so powerfully. And we see how few people of color in this country actually get a chance. It's not an accident. It is tragically a purposeful agenda. And we've got to talk about it if we are going to change it. That inequality that is getting so rampant and so dangerous, it's also an agenda. It didn't happen by accident. It happened because of policies in Washington, D.C. that helped the 1% gain more and more wealth and power. It doesn't conform to the reality of a democracy. And you can feel it starting to fray, can't you? You can feel this idea of one nation, one fabric together starting to fray. The antidote, the hope, comes in saying out loud what can and must be changed. It's the most honest discussion in just the last few years we've ever had in our history. A lot of people in this room have done great work in promoting that truthful discussion. But I want to take a moment, I'll be quick tonight, but I want to take a moment to say, if we appreciate the level of wokedness at this moment, if we appreciate that people are saying out loud what we should have said a long time ago, then we have to give credit to someone who challenged the orthodoxy, broke the rules in the best sense of the word, threw out the playbook, showed people that there were possibilities for empowerment that no one ever dreamed of. And he did it in lots and lots of ways, but I saw it as a humble volunteer in the 1984 campaign of Reverend Jesse Jackson, and we owe him such a debt of gratitude. I told Reverend Jackson that when I was a volunteer in a couple of different states for him, that I saw before my very eyes the country starting to change. And he was counted out and dismissed. But he actually was the one who realized that we could make this change and we could break the mold and we could do something different. And there are so many dominoes that fell because of that. And he mentioned I had the honor of working for Mayor David Dinkins. I think he would say just what I will say to you now. It was because of the 1988 campaign of Jesse Jackson in this state that we even had the possibility of electing Mayor David Dinkins, the first African-American mayor of New York City. It was because of what Reverend Jackson created and the coalition he built. So when I come here with profound gratitude. Because if he hadn't been here, if he hadn't done what he did, we would not be having that blunt and honest conversation. We would not be poised for greater change. Someone had to blaze the trail. Someone had to get it going. So very quickly, I want to say, we gather, of course, in appreciation for his leadership. We also gather in appreciation for what 22 years of this organization have done to call the question on economic fairness and to refuse to accept an economy that leaves so many people out so constantly. It's just not going to work in the long run. I think more and more people get it. It won't work. So it's not just a moral question. Country doesn't work if people don't feel it's for them. And this is what this good work has always been a part of. Now, I just want to finish with this notion. You know, another great American who was the Speaker of the House, Tip O'Neill, said all politics is local. And I take that to mean all social change is local. All social change emanates from the grassroots. Reverend Jackson can tell you all about the movements that he started out with. They had great leaders. He learned from Dr. King and so many other great leaders, but those movements were built on the most powerful form of leadership at the grassroots, people whose names we do not know, but who changed things in their town, in their city, in their neighborhood. They made history. And that grassroots power is alive and well today. And while we're waiting for Washington to change, when it will change. While we are waiting, we are not paralyzed. We have to make change everywhere we are, whether it's in a place we live or a place we work. We have to make change because it's not a matter of just hoping one day someone passes a piece of legislation in Washington. Maybe once upon a time we thought that's what solved the problem, but we've learned that we have to be the authors of history. Wherever we are. Wherever we are. So here in New York City, we said, if we're going to take on structural racism, if we're going to take on income inequality, let's be very clear that when we talk about MWBEs, that sanitized term, right? We're talking of businesses owned by people of color and women who represent labor that was given to this country over generations and centuries, but was not rewarded. So that labor never got rewarded, but it made this country. We now must reward that labor in today's generation. This is not some kind of giveaway. This is not some kind of small gratuity. This is creating a fair and just society. So when we say we must have goals, it's about a just redistribution that reflects things we should have done a long time ago, and no one should ever have to apologize for it. In New York City, we have a very clear goal, and we intend to implement it in the next 2 years. And I want to note, by the way, I know Reverend appreciates acknowledging the level of capital that is involved when we talk about change. I have an annual budget I just announced for New York City of $92 billion. All the things that we will purchase, all the services, all the goods, all the contracting, all the consultants of everything we will purchase, 2 years from now, our goal is that 30% of everything we purchase goes to minority and women-owned businesses. That, my friends, is what we call real money. Serious money, serious investment, serious commitment to change. We are doing it here. It should be demanded everywhere. It should be demanded everywhere. You came this evening to this hotel in the center of this city, the center of global capital. I hope you leave this evening recognizing that this status quo cannot hold, that we all owe it to this generation and those beyond to demand that kind of change so that real resources go in the name of justice to so many who deserved them long ago and now finally will have a chance for fairness. Thank you, and God bless you all.
My wife, Jacqueline, come up here. And my chairman, Sister Susan Taylor, come up here, please. Susan Taylor is our chairperson tonight. Give her a big hand. Jack was up here on TV on The View last week. She got so famous, I'm going to get her autograph. Yes, she did a good job.
This had better be important.
That was good.
Come on, Susan.
That was good.
I'll go on the other side.
As you have announced yourself. Okay, the paparazzi are ready. All right, got it? Excellent. Did that meet your standards?
I approve. I just wanted to make sure I let you know I love you. Thank you. Because I sat there and didn't speak. And you tell your wife, this is a black expression. Tell her I did that too.
Okay. I will share that.
One more time for the mayor. Mr. Mayor, before you leave this stage, may I ask you just a quick question? I've been covering politics for 30 years. I have interviewed a number of presidents over my lifetime. Was with Cory Booker about a month and a half ago, and just my little spidey senses could tell me that he was getting ready to make an announcement about something. I don't expect him to do it. Well, it's way too late now.
Look at that, look.
All right, I'm told I can't ask you whether or not you were truly considering it, because she's got a love shirt on, but clearly is showing me no love. But I would be remiss if I didn't throw it out there. So I know you're not going to announce tonight, but give us a sense of whether or not that's something you're seriously considering.
You are living up to the highest journalistic traditions of just trying to mind my own business, walk off the stage, and he caught me. I just want to say everyone has to make their own decision in their own time, with their family, with their heart, but in the interest of furthering the dialogue in this country, the very same things we were talking about a moment ago, I will be visiting the people of Iowa on Saturday. That's all I want to say. So, thank you. That was good.
See, that's how you got to do it. All right, folks, we're going to continue along with the program because I see some of you haven't waited for the blessing of the food. We won't point you out because I know you're hungry. But let me bring Susan Taylor back up to the stage. As Reverend Jackson said, she is the chair of tonight's gala. And as I have said, Susan has long been one of those who really, beyond just the idea of saying she cares about our community, has shown she cares about our community. Her mentoring program is a stellar program. If you don't know of it, I would encourage you to look it up. They had a great gala last week, and she just wanted to give some hellos and some remarks. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, Susan Taylor.
Wow. Well, Ed Gordon, that was a major coup. What you just pulled off was a major moment. We can't forget. I'm glad I was in the house. And where's Reverend Jackson? Did he step out? I'm just glad I'm in the house tonight. That's okay. You know, the mayor said something about equity is a coming, and that there's going to be a reorganization of capital. And I'm not going to disagree with the mayor, but I'm just here to tell you that that's not going to happen. You know, that the haves don't want to give up what they have. And what's stunning to me is how difficult it is to get people to really care about poor people. And, you know, many of us were born maybe not into poverty, but I bet few of us grew up with the resources that we have today. And what was stunning to me when I began Essence Cares, the National Cares Mentoring Movement was founded as Essence Cares, just how difficult it was to get people to mentor vulnerable children. We were only asking for an hour a week. It makes me think about what Reverend Jesse Jackson has given to us over the decades. You know, whenever a black business was in trouble, call Jesse. Need somebody to go and confront power? Call Jesse. One of the proudest moments, I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but it was that Essence Magazine, when the magazine could not afford to take $1 million hit because one of the big brands disrespected black people. And Clarence Smith and Ed Lewis came to me, Julianne Malveaux, you may remember this, and they said, you know, we're going to disallow that advertiser from advertising in Essence. $1 million we said no to. Essence then might have been maybe 15, 16 years old, so this is around 1985. And it was a boycott of the product, and the very people we were standing for, we found out were making room to sell that product. I mean, it was a stunning thing. It was a hair care product. And so the people who we were standing for, because there was a statement made by the company that the products that African Americans were manufacturing were inferior, and that eventually the white-owned cosmetics companies and hair care companies would buy out all of the African American-owned ones, and eventually they did. And so we were outraged, and the women at Spelman really stood strong, and they led that boycott, okay. And we stood strong too and said no to $1 million a year, a lot of money today. It was a heck of a lot back then. And then when we found out that those very hair care manufacturers who also had beauty supply shops were selling the very product that was supposed to be boycotted after honoring Clarence Smith at a luncheon and I was the speaker. Here we were now, everybody is back in the game and Essence doesn't have that $1 million that we desperately need. You know what we said? Call Jesse. And Jesse Jackson, as he always has for us, stepped forward and negotiated us back into that relationship. And that's the history of our hero. And so I just very simply want to say to you, what's the plan? We don't have a plan. Reverend Jesse Jackson can't do any more for us than he's already done. You know, and we come to the Wall Street Project, and we come to the seminars, and we come to the dinners, and then we go back into our malaise. This is a unique time for us because we have everything. We have the white papers, we have the information, we have the data. Do you know how extreme poverty is defined in this nation, the wealthiest country in the world? Extreme poverty is defined as a yearly household income of $12,195.50 for a family of 4 with 2 related children. Nothing is going to change until we change it. And simply, let me just say it simply, we have got to link arms and aims. People of African ancestry and our allies, we've got to stand together with an agenda and be intentional about moving that forward. And until we do that, nothing is going to change. So it's on us. And to you, Reverend Jackson, we just say, bless you and bless you, Jackie. I'll tell you what Betty Shabazz said to me one day. I think I was complaining about my husband. She said, you think being married to Malcolm was a day at the beach? Now, we know being married to Jesse Jackson has been no day at the beach. But you know what she said to me? And I'll never forget it. She said, find the good and praise it. Find the good and praise it. So tonight, Reverend Jackson, we praise you for all the goodness you have given us. God bless you.
And we should note that the same can be said for Susan Taylor. You know, when we talk about black girl magic, which is a catchphrase now, if anyone invented black girl magic, it's that woman right there. So please, once again, ladies and gentlemen, Susan Taylor. We should note that tonight we also look towards the future for young men and women who will enter the workforce after receiving needed training to both compete and excel, and that is part of the reason that we are here tonight. Some of those young people will be receiving educational scholarships and voter registration education. So there is method in our madness for being here beyond just giving you a good dinner. So let us once again salute this evening. I'll ask you one more time just to put your hands together, and then we will bring the pastor up to pray for you heathens who are already eating. So one more again for all of the folks who make it work here. Let's give them a round of applause. Now, we're going to bring Dr. Jamie Pleasant up to the microphone. He is going to bless our food. I'm sure there's a place for them people, ain't it, Pastor? Yes, sir. All right.
Good evening. How's everybody doing? Listen, it's an honor to be here. I want to pray. I don't know about you. I've enjoyed the speakers, but I'm hungry. So I'm going to make this real quick. Let's bow our heads real quick. Father, we come before you in the name of your son, Jesus. As it's the power of the Holy Spirit, we stand. We thank you for everything that has taken place in this place this week. We have been empowered. We have been equipped. And now we must be encouraged to leave this place and go out and make a difference. We thank you for this food that we're about to eat. May it be healthy for our bodies. We pray for the continuing healing of our divine Reverend, our honorable Reverend, Jesse L. Jackson. Will you continue to bless him? It is in the name of Jesus, who is the Christ, forever and ever. Every believer in this place, say amen.
Thank you, Doctor. Enjoy your food. We'll be back after dinner. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna move on with our program now, so we're gonna ask you to stay seated or get seated. I appreciate that you have been kind enough to give us a listen. Hope you enjoyed your dinner. Hope you enjoyed your wine. Hope you enjoyed your dinner more than your wine. All right, before we bring Ms. Hathaway to the stage, right, we're going to bring Reverend Jackson back up. He wanted to say just a few more words to you before we dismiss this evening. And for those of you who've never seen Lalah Hathaway in concert, you are in for an extraordinary treat. As they say, the apple did not fall too far from that tree. She is a fantastic singer and just a cool person. So as he makes his way to the stage, I will continue to stretch a bit until Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson makes his way to the microphone again.
Good evening. We are so delighted that you are here with us tonight. You've been at this most significant historical conference. We can't say it enough that this is the 400th year since we arrived on these shores. I said earlier today, while most of the hit comes to the deep south, the trading port was the port of New York. And sometimes it was under attack by the Indians, and Africans built out of logs the wall to protect the Dutch settlers. That's why it was named Wall Street, because of our work on Wall Street. Likewise, we were the commodity in the commodity exchange, importing Africans and shipping cotton and tobacco. For 244 years, we had a non-status as human beings. Then when the Constitution was written, up to 3/5 human beings. And as we fight for the narrative this year, Susan, as we fight for the narrative, So Lincoln freed us, it's true. But we saved him first. If he had not freed us, we couldn't have saved him. The South would have won the war. It was far north as Antietam, Maryland, big battleground as Gettysburg. Headquarters moved from Montgomery to Richmond. And so it was that our work on Wall Street as being traded in 1863, first day that we ever hit the soil. So much spins around our history. The Statue of Liberty, there were people, as we marched to end apartheid in South Africa around the world, we were marching to end slavery in Britain and in France. And when the war was over and we were freed, France sent us as a gift the Statue of Liberty because we saved the Union, because we ended slavery. It has become now a welcome for Europeans to come here, but it really was a gift from France dedicated to our freedom. And if, in fact, you go to the Seine River in France, you will see a smaller version of the Statue of Liberty. Even Thanksgiving Day, it had always been a festival in the fall of the year, but when Lincoln spoke at Gettysburg, the stench of the dead in the air, he thanked God for our saving the Union. And on that occasion, made Thanksgiving an executive order. That's part of our work as well. We're deep into the bowels of this situation here. And the deeper we get, the more we know. Last thing I close before bringing on Lalah is that when I was a bit young and I would read the first chapter of Matthew, begat. I don't understand what all that meant, except it's 42 generations from David to Jesus, 1,000 years. Most of us speak of 42 generations as a statement, almost a poetry. But he could speak of Isaiah 700 years, that's where he got his sermon from. The lineage of David, 1,000 years, and Moses, 3,000 years, 2,000 years from David. Most of us cannot get back 5 generations deep, yes, even 4. So early in the morning was excavating our past, finding out just who we are and what our loins represent. So it's been a glorious day. We went to Silicon Valley with the help of Butch Wing a few years ago, and they had 186 white board members, 36 women, 3 African Americans, and 1 Latino. Now it's 28 African Americans, and because of our work there. We return significantly. Tomorrow at noontime, Sister Maxine Waters will address us as the chair of the Finance Committee. We now have 55 African Americans in the Congress, 38 Latinos and 20 Asians. I'm not sure we've yet digested what it means to have 55 in the Congress, what it means to have 5 chairmen and about 10 subcommittee chairmen. I'm not sure we know kind of what that means yet, except to say she returns with subpoena power. She wants their records. She has the authority to do that. She set up a new committee in her division, affirmative action, and inclusion. So we thank God for Maxine Waters. She's such a wonderful person. Another big hand for Maxine Waters. And somewhere in the wings is a lady who, well, she's Lalah Hathaway's daughter. But you know, genes can be dormant if you don't work them out. She's not going to Berkeley School of Music. She's just been Donna's daughter. She also is a student, a scholar of music, and quite a musician she is, quite a singer, a great spirit. She left California, flew here today, got here at 3 o'clock. She'll leave tomorrow morning at 2 o'clock, going back to California. Tomorrow night she'll leave and go to Florida for a jazz cruise because she cares so much about us. We thank God for this very special person and personality. Let's hear it big time for Sister Lalah Hathaway. Put your hands together.
Good evening, everyone. How y'all feel? I love this size room because I can see all of you. I really appreciate that. So let's have some fun. You know Reverend Jackson made his request already. No matter what your set is, he will come in the room and be like, well, don't forget that one. Do y'all feel like singing? Y'all feel like singing a little? Ma la 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 la. Say that. Ma la 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 la. Ma la 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 la. Ma la 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 la. Ma la 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 la. Summertime and living is easy. Fish are jumping and the cotton so high. Oh, your daddy's rich and your ma is good looking. So hush, little baby, don't you cry. One of these mornings, you're gonna rise up singing. Then you'll spread your wings and you'll take to the sky. But until that morning, nothing's gonna harm you. With mommy and daddy standing by. Is that all right? Summertime and the living is easy. Fish are jumping and jumping and jumping, and the cotton's so high. Oh, your daddy's rich and your mama's so fine. So hush, little baby, don't you cry. Cry. Chad, give it up. It's not summertime, though. For all we know, we may never meet again. Before you go, make this moment sweet again. We won't say goodnight until the very last minute. I'll hold out my hand and my heart will be in it. For all we know, this may only be a dream. We come and we go like the ripples on a stream. So love me tonight. Tomorrow was made for some. Tomorrow may never come, for all we know. So love me tonight. Tomorrow was made for some. Tomorrow may never ever come, for all we know. Thank you. That was one of those last-minute additions from Reverend Jackson's list. So I'm glad we were able to put that together. the world will change again. And you may have to come back through everywhere you've been. When your life was low, you had nowhere to go. People turned their backs on you, and everybody said that you were through. I took you in, and I made you strong again. Put you back together out of all the things you left along the way. You left me shining. Now you're doing well. Through stories I hear tell, you own the world again, and everyone's your friend. And although I never hear from you, still it's nice to know you used to love me so when your life was low. Always remember, my friend, the world will change again, and you may have to come back through everywhere you've been. Now you're doing well, that's all right. The stories I hear tell, you own the world again, and everyone's your friend. And although I never hear from you, still it's nice to know you loved me so when your life was low. Always remember, my friends, the world will change again, and you may have to come on back through everywhere you've been. Thank you so much. Woo! Can you turn this mic down just a little for me on stage? Is that you or me? No, that was technical difficulties. Oh. Y'all feel like it? Yeah. Little ghetto boy playing in the ghetto streets. What you gonna do when you grow up and have to face responsibility? Will you spend your days and nights in a pool room? Will you sell caps of madness in the neighborhood, little ghetto boy? You already know how rough life can be, 'cause you've seen so much pain and misery. Little ghetto boy, your daddy was blown away. He robbed that grocery store. Don't you know that was a sad, sad old day? All of your young life you've seen such a misery and pain. The world is a cruel place to live, and it ain't gonna change. You're so young, you've got so far to go. And I don't think you reach your goal, young man, hanging around the pool room door. Come on, Jack. Little ghetto boy, when you become a man, you can make things change. Hey, if you just take a stand, Lord, just take a stand. You've got to believe in yourself and all you do. You got to fight to make things better. Then you'll see how others will start believing too. Then, my son, things will start to get better. I know y'all all know this part. Come on, come on. Everything has got to get better. Everything has got to get better. Everything has got to get better. Sing that with me, y'all. Everything has got to get better. I said everything's got to get better. Got to. Come on, altos. It's got to get better, yeah. I believe in my heart and my soul, everything's got to get better. It's got to get better. Everything has got to get better. Break it down, let me hear him say, everything has got to get better. Lord, it must. Everything has got to get better. Everything has got to get better. If you believe in your heart, say it one more time. I love a room full of singing people. It makes me so happy. I'm gonna sing one more song for y'all. Is that all right? Is everybody okay? That's your song? Y'all gonna sing it with me? Come on, y'all. If I could, I'd give you the world. Wrap it all around you. Won't be satisfied with just a piece of his heart. My angel, tender too. My angel. Come on, y'all. Oh, angel. You're my angel. Oh, angel. Love like ours is heaven sent. Each day a day to remember. I feel so safe. I feel secure with you. With you. Fill me up. Keep right on giving. Build me up, baby, with the joy of living. When things get tough, I can always turn to you. You're my angel. Oh, angel, yes you are. You're my angel. Ooh. You got to know. Love the way we touch. I love the way it feels. Every time you're near me, my poor heart just won't keep still. No doubt about it that this love I feel is real. Ask me to go with you. You know I will. Hold me near, hold me tight. Only you can make it real, only you make it alright. Just let me know that I am special to you, my angel. Oh, angel, you're my angel. Oh, angel, come on and break it down right here. Keep it right there, keep it right there, keep it right there, keep it right there. Right there. Is that all right? Can we keep it right there for a minute, y'all? I wanna know what good love feels like. Good love, good love. When we met, always knew I would feel that magic for you on my mind, yeah. Constantly in my arms is where you should be. I love you here by me, baby. You let my love fly free. I hear y'all. Are you caught up in the rapture of love? No one else can compare. When I feel the magic of you. So do 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 so da ba ba do do la da bo da da ba ba do 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 sa ba do li ba ba le do le so ba do do le do da da so ba la da do la so la da do la so la da do la bo la so bo bo ba da da sa bo da 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 do so bo bo da da di 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 bo do le so if I feel Thank you, Reverend Jackson, for having me. Thank y'all so much.
Let me just, I don't want to step on our applause. I'm going to let you all continue, but I just want to say this, truthfully. I've known this young lady from the first album. And we've done many, many interviews over the years, and I have said this to her before. This is one of the baddest ones out there, period, period. And you know you bad when you can take Anita's song, make it your song, and Anita said that's okay. Y'all heard her do Luther's Forever for Always for Love. You don't mess with Luther. She did. So let me just say, when artists like her drop new material, please, I know y'all say yeah right now, but go support it. Go support it. And support it don't mean look it up on YouTube. Spend a little money on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you buy it. So ladies and gentlemen, one more time, Lalah Hathaway.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Chad. Thank you.
All right, folks, we thank you so much. We will see you tomorrow and in this room, Maxine Waters at noon. Good night. Drive safely.